Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Chris over at SkyTech Enterprise Solutions. And today we have a video. This video gives you a walkthrough of how to set your default application in SPLUNK Enterprise. And as you can see, I have a brand new install of SPLUNK Enterprise installed on my laptop. And it's a few days old, so I still have a few days left on the trial lifespan. All right, so let's get into it. This interface that you're looking at, I know to some who have seen Splunk in the past, it might look very different, okay? And I will explain why in a short moment. Splunk is a pretty it's not the most complicated software platform or software tool that I've used, but it's got some nooks and crannies to it, right? So there are many things that you need to be aware of if you're trying to become very familiar or conversant with Splunk itself, right? As a software, as a tool. Splunk is very popular in the SOC environment, which is the Security Operations Center environment. Other professions also use Splunk. There are Splunk developers, Splunk administrators, Splunk analysts, what have you, right? Other engineers end up using Splunk. So Splunk is a really great skill set to have in your toolbox as you embark on this, IT journey. So let's get into this thing we're talking about here. If you want to change the default application in Splunk, meaning when Splunk loads, right, what application do you want to see, right? And it's a very simple process. You see these options here. You just come straight to Administrator. You go to Preferences. So here you can set your time zone, okay? And then here you can set your default application, as you can see, right over here. It says default application. You have, let's see how many options we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So this is a pretty basic Splunk configuration out of the box, no customizations. So in your work environment, it might be slightly different, but we're going by this fresh install. It's a few days old, so it's pretty brand new. There's not a lot going on in here. Very few customizations. So you come over here, you click on this drop down. You can choose the Home tab. Right now, let's apply that, and let's go see what it does, or what it looks like actually when you start Splunk. So in order to do that, I'm just always going to click on the Splunk logo here, and it'll take me to the home page of the Splunk application itself, right? So here you have your home tab, and this is what the home page actually looks like, right? You have your product tours, you can add data, you have your Splunk apps, and your Splunk documentation, okay? Your apps are also listed here, and you can click on these apps and move around in the Splunk interface, okay? Go back. Here you can go to the Splunk Secure Gateway, see what that looks like. Okay, there we go. So technically you can add or remove devices here to manage your deployment. Your CIO might require you to deploy to a totally different environment within your network. It could be a backup network somewhere that they want you to deploy something to. It could be data, it could be other components of Splunk itself, okay? All right, so we're gonna go back. We'll look at, let's see what this says. It's Upgrade Readiness app. So this one here sounds like you wanna find out about how upgrade ready your current install is, right? So you can run a scan here and see if you are update ready. Let's keep it simple here. So this looks like it will run for a while. In the meantime, let's go ahead. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, so it did run very quickly. Here we have 2 system config failed, 0 public app failed, 0, etc. But you get the idea, right? So these apps do different things, okay? Now, let's go back to what we came here to do, which is to change our default application. So in this sense, we're basically customizing how we want Splunk, the Splunk app itself to look when it first loads. And again, the option we looked at is this option here. It's called Home. Okay. The next option we're going to look at is the Upgrade Readiness app. Now, if you want this page to be your home page when you load Splunk, you can look at you can change the Splunk homepage to that. And this is the page that we just came from, where we did a scan to find out how upgrade ready we were. And we found out that we weren't. You know, there's some errors here. If this was a work environment, you know, it'll be your job to go figure out what these 2 system config failed error messages are. You have to go figure it out, fix it, so you can actually pass, right, your readiness, and then you can go ahead to upgrade it to the next great version of Splunk. All right, so we'll go back to preferences. So again, we always come back to administrator, preferences, and default application. Okay. The next one we want to go to is the search and reporting application. So this right here tells you that Splunk itself, although it's a platform, it comes with several applications, right? And you can add more applications, you can build new ones, etc., etc. You can actually purchase some apps from the Splunk app market as well. All right, so now let's go to our homepage. And as you see, we did change the startup or the default application to our search interface here. So anytime you come to Splunk Home, if you go to the home page of Splunk, it will show you the search interface, where you can see your search history. There's so much you can see up here, right? You come in the morning, you got your hot coffee, you just got off the metro, you come in here, you click on Splunk. This is what opens up. Right, so you can customize your interface here. So you have your dashboards, you have your frequent searches, you know, things that you want to look at, how many people were logging onto your system overnight, failed logins, failed attempts, successful logins, stuff like that. You can easily customize your dashboard. Sometimes you can do it yourself if you have the permissions to do it. Sometimes your team lead or your department IT team is the one, is the group that actually configures your homepage. All right, so let's go back to preferences. Let's see what the next one is. Splunk Dashboard Studio. Let's click on apply. Let's go to the homepage. And here we have that magical interface that looks very busy. There's a lot going on here. It's a lot of graphics, right? And these look very busy, right? Obviously, this is code. This is some source code here to format your presentations and reports. Okay, let's go over to our administrator tab here, click on preferences, and find the next default application. Splunk Essentials for Cloud and Enterprise 9.0. Hit apply. Don't forget to go to the Splunk logo here and look at your new homepage, right? We'll go back to our administrator link and select the next option for default application. We go back to our home page and voila. So this, all right, let's look at this. Anyway, so this one here it says instrumentation, but it kind of looks, it reminds me of the Splunk and search and reporting. So let's go check it out. Let's see if it's identical. All right, so I'm going to go to the home page. Yeah, it looks almost identical. So, you know what? This might be different. Let's go check that out. So we'll go back and we'll say instrumentation, hit apply, home. And I was right about that. This part of the page, the content area looks identical, but this header, this one says instrumentation, as it should. So obviously there's a difference here. All right, let's go to preferences. Let's select another Splunk analytical workspace. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long day here. All right, so we changed that. We're going to go back to our logo. And here we go, Splunk Analytical Workspace. Say that 3 more times and let's see what happens. All right, let's go here and see what's going on. All right, we have some cool interface to look at. We can see our data sets if we have any. And voila, of course, we do have a little bit of data here. We have some reports, right? Again, Splunk has so many different pages for you to get lost in, right? So we'll take our time and go through each single page as much as possible, okay, to get you comfortable and familiar with what you're looking at. Some of these pages you may not have to use because when you get into a certain environment, your team lead may set the tone, right? They may limit your permission based on the account that they grant you. So there's not much you can do yourself. And sometimes you will be the administrator, right? So you have to know what's going on. You have to know how to do these things. All right, so the next default application is going to be the monitoring console. Okay, we'll go back to our home page. Give it a few seconds to load. And here we are. Okay, so this is your monitoring console, and it looks pretty cool. I like this GUI interface, if you will. It basically tells you how much space I have on my computer. Well, this is physical memory, how many CPU cores. Here we come and see indexing rate, concurrent searches, CPU usage 13%. That's not too bad. Oops. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to go to that, but since we're here, guess we'll wait for the data and see what it looks like. So again, Splunk is a very powerful tool, right? It gives you a lot of graphs and information, right? You have your indexes here, things you can look at. You can sort by, last 4 hours, week to week, a 1 hour window. There's a lot you can do with Splunk, and this is just out of the box, meaning you can customize it to suit whatever specific needs that your team desires, right? There's a lot going on here, guys. So we're going to go back to what we were doing. We must complete the mission. The last option here we're looking at for the default application is the Splunk Secure Gateway. Hit apply. We'll go back to our logo here and we will see. All right, it takes a little bit of time. And I think we did look at this, but this is where you add a new, add a new device to manage your deployment. Okay, add or remove devices to manage your deployment. So folks, we're trying to keep these videos short so it's easy to just see what's going on. Okay. Again, you come to Administrator, Preferences, okay, and then you can select how you want Splunk to look when you log into it, okay? And for now, I prefer this interface here, okay? And who knows, I might change my mind tomorrow, but at least you know where to go, right? Administrator, Preferences, Default Application. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.